All right, so I've opened up my file from last time, my motion graphic, and this is what I have so far. I've got just over 5 seconds, which is good. Now, if I decided, hey, I want to tweak some things before moving on to the next step, this would be the good time to do that. And so, play through your animation. Make sure that you're actually seeing some good motions and movements, slow downs and speed ups, kind of makes your animation a little bit more dynamic. If there's some things that you decide, hey, I'm not so sure about that, then you can always go back to that frame and you can see about deleting, just the contents on that one frame out and perhaps redrawing something or making something a little bit better. Now, if you need to alter your number of frames, maybe I want to shorten that one but add another frame here, I need to make the space for it because this is my next frame. And so what I would do is shift select my remaining frames, and when I hover over it, I have this little white box that shows up, and I can grab them now and then slide them over one single frame. Now I have an empty space right here. So if I hit F7, now I can fill this in with a new frame. So ways that you can go back and alter, tweak, and adjust this. Now for today, we're going to be looking at how to make this kind of more dynamic as far as adding some scale to it. So notice like this ball kind of gets bigger and bigger as it comes closer and closer to us. And so that is kind of something we'll be doing here. Instead of making this look like a two-dimensional animation, what I'm going to do is add kind of the extra details to it to make it look like it's coming at us and going back into the distance. And so let's take a look here. It's going to come here, and maybe as it gets further this way, maybe it starts to get a little bit larger. And so to scale up your object, use your free transform tool, and when you select it, you should be able to scale it up a bit. And so I'm going to do that for these frames. As it's scaling, I'm going to also rotate it, make sure it stays on its path. And so I'm going to check out with onion skin as well to make sure I'm scaling it up in the right direction, and it's not getting larger than smaller and larger again. This will help me keep the size and scale on track. So I noticed a little mistake right here. For instance, I've got this extra bit that I don't need. And so I can take an eraser on this and erase a chunk of that guy out of here. And so I don't really want this guy here. And so I'll select it. And with my eraser tool, I'll make sure I have the right options selected here. I want to erase fills, and so I'll choose for normal. And I'm going to tweak this just a bit and create, I'm going to create a new dot. So I don't like how this one was, so I'm going to turn my onion skin back on, create a new dot right here, and I'm going to scale it up. So just to make it a little bit easier, I can hold shift to keep everything in scale the right way, and then move on to my next frame. I'm pressing like the greater than and less than arrows on my keyboard. So shift and drag to scale this up, arrow key on my next to the M on the keyboard to scale it up the right way. So give me some ways to scale this. And so I'm going to go through my animation here and kind of work on scaling up certain parts of my animation. And it gets small again, but I'll have to adjust that. So as it goes from here, maybe it will gradually shrink back down to normal size and maybe get closer again as it keeps on moving. So A little bit of tweaking of my object here, making sure that everything is staying on track. Keep my onion skin on. Now I'm starting to shrink it back down, make it look like it's going back into space a little bit more. I'm going to do it gradually. And kind of add that dynamic of scale and making it look more three-dimensional as it's moving through your stage. So same thing here. When you go to, when you make these updates to this, you're going to go to File, Export, Export Animated GIF. And when you go to Save, I would call this your name, Motion Graphic, Part 2. And that'll be how you save this. Make sure it's saved to your student drive, and all this should be well. Again, make sure you save your progress on your actual project file as well. So once you save your GIF file, save on your project file, and make sure that that is also saved to your student drive. If you hold over here, you can see exactly where it's saved to. So update this, working with scale, working with size, and making it look a little bit more three-dimensional. So you'll go through kind of a second round of going through your animation here and making it a little bit more dynamic. Have fun with that, and we'll see you on the next part.